Welcome to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a community affairs program from West Virginia Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, Southern Communications, or its sponsors. And now, with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to Our Communiversity Today. I'm Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley. And I'm thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore Our Communiversity. As I say all the time, I believe that the community is the university and the university is the community. And with that in mind, it's important for us to come together weekly to talk about different things going on, not only in our region, but throughout our state. And today I'm happy to have with me the Commissioner of Agriculture here in West Virginia, Kent Leonhardt, who's going to talk to us about the role that he and his organization, the West Virginia Department of Agriculture, plays in helping us build a successful communiversity. And when you think about the role of Commissioner Leonhardt and the things that they do, you have to understand that they're integral to something that we try to do each week on Our Communiversity Today, which is simply ask and answer two questions. Why not us and why not now? And as we look to explore that with Commissioner Leonhardt, today is going to be a very, very special episode because this is going to be the first hour-long episode, a two-part episode in the history of Our Communiversity Today. So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
If you want a real cool website, I'll tell you what to do. Call them cats at Cucumber and they'll build a site for you. Our people are so friendly and our updates are the fastest. All it's gonna cost $100 plus taxes.
These cats build, host, and update for just $100 a month.
Oh yeah!
Find out how at 304-250-0123 or at cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, we're visiting with the West Virginia Commissioner of Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt, to discuss the role that he and his office, the West Virginia Department of Agriculture, plays in the success of not only Southern West Virginia, but this state. How are you, Commissioner?
I'm fine, Ramon. How are you?
You know what? I tell people all the time, all my good days outweigh my bad days, so I better not complain. Thank you so much for being in studio with us. And, you know, you've been someone that I met not long ago, not long after I got here in the town, and we've become fast friends, just talking, shooting shop. But for our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my career started as a Marine Corps officer. I was at the University of Missouri studying wildlife management and decided that I wanted to really get into that. I was studying pre-vet as well. And I decided wildlife was more important, but Vietnam was winding down and all the Vietnam vets were getting those state and federal jobs. So I decided to join the military to get that veteran's preference as well. Thought I'd only stay a few years, ended up liking it and ended up making it a career. So plus after almost 21 years as an intelligence officer in the United States Marine Corps, I retired in 96, came to West Virginia, had bought an abandoned farm when I was a young captain, started that farm with 205 acres. My wife and I now own 380 acres, and we had 5 leases going on at the same time. We raised cattle, sheep, and goats, had a backyard flock of chickens. My son lived with us for a while, and he did the farmer's market in Morgantown. So we got quite a vast experience. Then all of a sudden, I decided to get back into public service.
Let me talk about that experience a little bit. So are you from the show me state of Missouri?
No, I was actually raised in northern New Jersey.
Okay.
Don't hold that against me. I got here as quick as I could. You can't blame me for what my parents did. But my parents, when I was a youngster, bought an abandoned dairy farm in Pennsylvania. And it was almost 100 acres between the 2 parcels, and it had a lake. And I got my love of outdoors and agriculture there. We started going to the local fairs and festivals, and that really piqued my interest in agriculture. So I was ready to do this when I retired from the Marine Corps. I didn't want to get a Beltway bandit job. I went out to I wanted to have a small farm and use that experience, and I continued my studies while I was in the service. I had a great military career. I gotta tell you, I was very blessed. I was in the first Gulf War. I led a 68-man special intelligence team, and I also ran the intelligence collection management for the Amphibious Task Force. I had the privilege of being a fellow to the director of the National Security Agency, and then the Marine Corps' liaison officer to the National Security Agency. And then I finished my career in '96 at U.S. Central Command, the command fighting in Iran today.
Yeah, thank you so much for that service spanning more than 2 decades. Your rank at retirement, what was it?
I was a lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant colonel. And so, that career, that decorated career, and also the things that you did to make it safe for those of us here. I personally want to extend my thanks to you, and I know our listeners do too. But
it was my honor to serve, actually.
Excellent. The one thing you talked about, you got into farming from Jersey to Pennsylvania, because I was wondering how a Jersey kid got into farming, but I see you saw the light and went to Pennsylvania. But you talked about the farms that you and your wife have. Tell me about those farms.
Well, my farm was abandoned in 1957, where my house is. Hay was stored in it. I purchased it in 1982, and we decided we just used it for hunting and recreation until I actually retired from the service. But as we had funds, we restored the house. The house was built in 1890. I had an engineer come out and look at it. Do I tear this down and rebuild? He said, no, you got a foundation, you got structure. I got hand-hewed oak beams on the base that are 40 foot long. It's quite an interesting, and I think the studs are chestnut. So we had a pre-drill to put the drywall screws in.
Yeah, and I love it. And I talk all the time to our listeners about being in studio and the face that I see in front of me and the smiles that come out. And when we started talking about your farm, you could just see that ray of pride and appreciation and admiration of the farm. What do you think drives that for you?
I don't know. I think maybe it was in my youth. I mean, we didn't farm when my parents bought that. My father was an orthopedic surgeon. We just went out there for the summers and vacations, and we hunted in Pennsylvania. I think that's what brought the love of that. We did not farm the property. A local neighbor cut the hay on it. We played in the hay in the barn. We screwed up the farmers' hay bales. Farmers know about that. But we had a great time growing up as kids there. And I think that's what got my love of the outdoors. I mean, I love the technology that I used in the Marine Corps. I was offered positions, but that's not what I wanted to do. That wasn't Kent Leonhardt. Kent Leonhardt wanted to go. I never thought I'd get into the political world, but after 20 years of farming, we decided that it was time to get back in and start serving the public again.
And service, I say this all the time, service, Shirley Chisholm mentioned, is the price we pay for the space that we occupy on God's green earth. And so with service in mind, you came back, you retired in 1996, and then from there you started farming full time. And you farmed for 20 years full time?
20 plus years full time. Plus, we had a small business on the side too. But basically, I was primarily a farmer.
Okay.
And we were we bought additional property, added leases, things of that nature.
And so with that, you see the needs and the wants of people, and you embarked on a career as a politician. Tell us what got you into politics.
Well, again, I was getting back to the time to where it was time to give back everything I learned. I was so lucky and blessed to have the career that I had, and I just felt it was time. And the happiest people I know are people that volunteer and help others. So it was time for us to get back into that light. So I ran for Commissioner of Agriculture in 2012. I was an opening came up on the ballot. I was playing to the ballot. I didn't win that one. I lost to a 20-year senator who had been in politics quite some time, outspent me. Money does play a role in politics, unfortunately. But you have to use money to get your name out and the word out and who you are. But we came close. We only lost by 3 points. So my party asked me to run for the state senate 2 years later, and I said, I guess I can do that. So I did, and I won, and I became a state senator. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then the decision came again, do I run against the gentleman that had beat me in 2012 and 2016, or do I stay in the state senate? And enough people asked me, we need you to do this. So I decided to do it. I won, resigned my Senate seat, and I've been lucky enough this is my third term as the Commissioner of Agriculture.
So let's talk, and one of the things for our listeners, and I say this all the time to the young people on campus, sometimes a setback is a setup for something better. And so, you ran back in 2012, but you did not win. You lost by the 3 points, and, you went on to become a state senator. What did you learn during that moment of adversity?
Well, actually, everything happens for a reason, and I think you're right. And there's a plan for us out there, and we just don't always know what it is, and we have to trust. But we have to follow our heart and do things that we know we enjoy. And you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing what you really love to do. But at the same time, I learned. Not winning that race, I got into the legislature. So when I became the commissioner, I understood better how the legislature worked. I wouldn't have had that experience had I gone right into ag commissioner, and it would have probably been a little bit more difficult getting involved into the current role that I have now. So taking my military experience and the legislative experience, it's been able to blend those lessons learned and obviously the agricultural life to doing what I'm doing now. And the results are there. The last National Ag Census showed us up 27% in agricultural output. Very proud of that.
Yeah, well, I certainly want to spend some time talking about your multiple terms as the Commissioner of Agriculture. Again, ladies and gentlemen, in studio with us today, the Commissioner of West Virginia Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt. We're going to take a short break, so stay tuned to News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity Today.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
If you want a real cool website, I'll tell you what to do. Call them cats at Cucumber and they'll build a site for you. Our people are so friendly and our updates are the fastest. All it's gonna cost $100 plus taxes.
These cats build, host, and update for just $100 a month.
Oh yeah!
Find out how at 304-250-0123 or at cucumberandcompany.com.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again in studio is our Commissioner of Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt, who is here to talk to us about the role that agriculture in his office plays in the success of Southern West Virginia and throughout the state. Now, Commissioner, before break, we had some conversations about not only your upbringing in New Jersey, your migration to Pennsylvania, and then going and discovering your love or learning about your love of veterinary science out at the University of Missouri, your decorated military career, which shaped you into the person that you are, retiring as a lieutenant colonel, but then talking about your need and want to serve. And I think service is so important. And, you know, when you set out to serve, you got beat. But again, that setback was just a setup for your next thing. And I thank you for your service as a state senator here in West Virginia. But that led to your current role. So tell us about how you made the jump from a state senator to running and becoming the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of West Virginia.
Well, the biggest jump was going from a part-time legislative job to a full-time job again. And so we had to make some decisions, and we sold off. I gave up the leases to the farm bit by bit. I sold off our livestock. I still do some farming. We don't have hay equipment anymore, but I do bring cattle in the summers. So I'm still actively involved and can be called a farmer on the statistics of the state. But that freed up my time. I realized I could not be a full-time farmer and a full-time commissioner of agriculture, and I had to make that choice. And since the people elected me to this position, I work for everybody that's listening on this station, unless you're out of state. But even then, I serve very much on the national level in many other capacities, and we can get into that a little bit later. But I had to be a full-time ag commissioner, and that's what I do. I do travel all over the state, but I'm constantly on the phone with my staff and working different things. You know, simple things like last night, I welcomed delegations from India and Vietnam with buyers and in-country consultants that are going to look at some of our sawmills to help expand the trade of our forestry products. West Virginia has some of the best forest products in the nation for hardwoods, and we want to make sure that we can sell them. And we're growing trees at 2.5 times the rate of harvest. We've got plenty of hardwoods to sell and still keep our mountains beautiful.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things that some of our listeners may not realize is the direct correlation between your office and higher education. Our state is blessed to have an 1862 land grant institution and an 1890 land grant institution. The 1862 I happen to work for also, West Virginia University, and then the 1890 land grant at West Virginia State University. So tell us a little bit about how your office works with the institutions of higher education and also Potomac State College, which is a divisional campus of West Virginia University. How does your office work with those entities to bring forward agricultural education?
Well, I'm very lucky that we have a lot of folks that are interested in agricultural education in the state of West Virginia. You mentioned WVU, you mentioned West Virginia State, Parkersburg. We also have Potomac State that has an agricultural program. Shepherd University has an agriculture. So we have a lot of institutions that are interested in agriculture. And my staff works with all of those institutions to try to help and promote. We need the research in agriculture, and that's what our universities are best at, doing that research and then teaching our young agriculturalists as they go forward. The Department of Agriculture is primarily a regulatory agency, and people don't realize that. we're touching the life of every West Virginian every day, making sure that your food is safe and making sure that we have a steady food supply. So you're concerned about our department if you eat from a safe, affordable, and abundant food supply. And that's really where our role comes in. I believe we did a lot better during COVID than a lot of our surrounding states. But I think we did that because I hired great staff when I first came in. And then I also had that military background that could take that organization and work in the crisis management world. So, and we also had a lot of people that were good there. They just needed some direction. And we were able to keep agriculture open and keep everybody safe. So that was quite an accomplishment. I'm very proud of my team.
Yeah, and I love the way that the research component is coupled with the practical to ensure that people have safe food to consume, and you understand the growing conditions and the things that impact the supply chain, such as COVID. So when you think about your military experience and you juxtapose that with leading the West Virginia Department of Agriculture, how does that work in your day-to-day organization or operation?
Well, some of the experiences from the military I think about when I'm making serious decisions. So that doesn't go away. That just gets ingrained in you. But we also have to make sure that we're doing what's right for everybody. And working with the schools has been great. I need to expand on that a little bit because we have state farms that used to be attached, well, they're still attached to the prisons. And then we still have some prison labor on the farms, which is a great work release, work study, however the prisons are classifying it this year. But we end up training people in agriculture that way. But also, both of the major institutions, the land grants in particular, have agreements with us on those farms, some for growing. Sometimes they use our livestock for experimentation, and they wouldn't be able to do that without the assets of the Department of Agriculture. And we do have those farms, and I have full-time farm managers at those farms. So that's very important that we keep those things operational.
And building that pipeline, having people, exposing people to agriculture. If you didn't grow up farming, not many people get into it later in life. And so tell me more about Future Farmers of America here in West Virginia and what you're doing to try to prepare the next generation of farmers in the state.
Well, the FFA program is run by the State Department of Education, but obviously we very much support. I've been to a lot of the ham, bacon, and egg sales. I go visit these during FFA week. And then the conference center, Cedar Lakes Conference Center, which is the home of the FFA in Ripley, Jackson County, West Virginia, is actually run by the Department of Agriculture. So believe it or not, your Commissioner of Agriculture actually runs a conference center. Anybody needs a place for a family outing or a
little plug here.
I got to put a little advertising plug because we do have a motel and we do have a dining facility and we do cater and we do all sorts of great things. We have a lot of band camps there that come in from around the state, soccer camps. So it's an asset that the state of West Virginia and our schools also use in addition to the FFA. But there at the FFA, that's the home of the FFA. And believe it or not, and prior to COVID, we broke the 1960s record of participation with half the population in our FFA. So our FFA numbers are recovering from the COVID era. We've got so many more different programs. We've got junior high school programs setting up that lead into the high school program. Very proud of it. And then we also have the companion 4-H, and many of the students participate in the 4-H in the summer and FFA during the winter while they're in school. And some of them are almost combined.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the role that Tech plays in 4-H under the leadership of Barbie Little with the support of Dave Richmond. We come in and we do the camps with them over at the 4-H location. There, I guess that's Daniels or so here. And it's amazing to see those fifth graders that come from Raleigh County schools and the work that they do. And speaking of work and working with the schools and developing that next pipeline, how can parents get involved in helping their young people learn about agriculture?
Wow, that's a great question. They can I would say go to the extension service offices. Every county has one, and start to talk to that extension agent.
Tell us more about extension services and extension agents.
That's all part of the land grant program, and that's partially funded federally, it's partially funded locally, and it's also funded by the university and fees and tuitions, obviously. It's a pretty complicated funding stream. But these extension agents are there to help teach the farmers or do research for the farmers if they've got a question. Obviously, the Department of Agriculture does some of that as well, but that's the main purpose. And they're the ones that get to know the farmers and the local community. So if you're a parent and you don't have a farm, that's okay. If you want to teach your children where food comes from, contact the local extension agent, get involved with those. They do have parent volunteers in the 4-H programs. They will learn how to take care of livestock, but they'll learn so many other skills such as gardening. And then if you're not a child and you want to get more into gardening, they've got master gardener classes, and they can teach you and train you on what to do. And they make some beautiful community gardens in the neighborhood. It helps beautify our state.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, we're in studio with the West Virginia Commissioner of Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt, and I want to take this moment to take a short break. So stick with News Talk, WWNR, as we close out this edition of Our Communiversity Today.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
If you want a real cool website, I'll tell you what to do. Call them cats at Cucumber and they'll build a site for you. Our people are so friendly and our updates are the fastest. All it's gonna cost $100 plus taxes.
These cats build, host, and update for just $100 a month.
Oh yeah!
Find out how at 304-250-0123 or at cucumberandcompany.com.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, I am so thankful for our guest, the West Virginia Commissioner of Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt, for being with us today and sharing his background, sharing his thought, sharing his commitment to service with our listeners. Now, listeners, again, this is a special edition of Our Communiversity Today because it's going to be the first time in the history of the show that we have a 2-part series. The reason we need to have a 2-part series is because we just could not get everything we needed in, because when you think about Commissioner Leonhardt, you think about his service to our country, you think about his journey as a state senator, but also as you focus on his 3rd term as our Commissioner of Agriculture, you realize that there is so much more that we need to hear and understand about what he does, and more importantly, about his vision for the future of Southern West Virginia and our state as a whole as we go through and try to build a better communiversity. So I ask that you go to wwnrradio.com for additional information about Commissioner Leonhardt, additional information about the West Virginia Department of Agriculture, and more importantly, I ask that you visit so that you can help build Our Communiversity Today for a brighter Southern West Virginia tomorrow.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. For more on this program and contact information, visit our website at wwnrradio.com.